is Brianna with Hip Hop United.
Hey, Brianna.
Hey,
Hey, how's
Brianna,
it going,
how are you?
everybody?
It's
It's going.
going. It's
That's
Good,
going.
good.
With or
Happy
without
New
me, it's
Year.
going.
I know, right? I know, right? Well, I do appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to speak with you all today. A few questions. My first question is, I know the world is definitely dealing with issues right now, and involving with the police brutality. And this film definitely deserves the attention that it's receiving right now. So, as far as dealings with the police brutality, has anyone ever encountered any type of situations dealing with the police? If so, how did you guys handle it?
Oh,
um,
you want to go?
yeah, I'll go. I went through it, Brianna, and I've gone through it a lot. But the first encounter I had, I was probably 11 years old, and I was in Irvington, if not Newark. I can't remember, but I remember it was crazy too because ironically, Theo didn't grow up far from that. He grew up in Staten Island, and I was visiting an aunt in Irvington, or Newark. She lived in both, and followed the whole thing. They thought that the clothes I had on, I had not only stolen, but put them on while in there and was walking around and hiding the clothes that they assumed I took off. And my mom happened to be in there, Brianna. So that was weird because I saw this 5'1" little light skinned woman who I'm gonna go with what Spike said when he met me. He said, "Oh, you the darkest light skinned dude I ever met." And I don't know why Spike said it. It bothered me, Brianna. But I think I understand. Theo was laughing. I think I understand what Spike was getting at. And there's a notion within our race, as you know, Brianna, and that's not a great notion, that, you know, if the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. It does not denote that the darker the berry, the more black. That, I mean, Malcolm X was freckled faced with hazel eyes and red hair.
Right.
So I kind of went back at Spike when he said that to me. And he said, yeah, I guess that's true. In activism, there are people that look like you, but I haven't necessarily seen that on screen. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, but you're hiring Denzel to play Bleak Gilliam, and Denzel's hired to play Stephen Biko in Cry Freedom. And in my mind, I was thinking, Brianna, you are doing yourself a real, you as in Omari, you're doing yourself a real service here by learning from Spike that even he has thoughts. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was in that space of being pulled over by cops, I got into that space of understanding that Blacks within our own space have understandings of each other that are not necessarily correct. So when I was dealing with what I was dealing with at 11 years old, there were white cops. So I had a thought, not far from where Theo grew up. I had a thought of, this is a disease that is that of white man following black kid who's in store, whether light skin or dark, because he thinks we're thieves. If a white kid was doing the same thing, they turn their cheek or turn their head the other way, and the white kid gets away with it. A lot like DC and the Capitol steps, or the steps the other day that we
Right.
saw January 6th, as Theo forementioned in an interview. Well,
Right.
then I got to 23 years of age, and these were cops that were on me, and I'm pushed to the ground, a lot like our dear young brothers, brown and black, or black and brown, have met their fate on those grounds.
Mm-hmm.
And Brianna, there was black cops. It was black cops. And I remember saying, and I said it to Theo and Nate, and now I add to the story because I said to Theo and Nate in front of an interviewer who asked earlier, and I said that at that time I had a shame because I look back at it. And Brianna, I remember saying, I'm a college graduate. I kept screaming that like that was a badge of let me go because I'm worth more than what you're trying to do to me. But I'll add to it now. It could have been, and I can address this to you and Theo, it could have been a little bit of me addressing it to black cops because I had a prior notion that people harassing you didn't look like me. I was 11 and 12 when I went through it the first time. Well, the second time or the third time, let's say, there were black cops and they actually outweighed the white cops in number. There
Gotcha.
were two white cops. There was a female cop. She was white. There was a male cop. He was white. But there were like three black cops. And then there was a Chinese cop that said, come on, get him up. He's definitely lighter in complexion than the suspect we're looking for. So I think I learned so much during that moment of we come with our own notions about where we stand within our race,
Mm-hmm.
not better or worse, not lowest common denominator or highest, just black. And we have this concept or construct that the disease of racism is obviously white to black, but equally prejudices are what they are. And what Nate did a great job in this film of illustrating is the conversation is that of equal Black cop being in an officer's chief position, as you saw in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That equates at times to Blacks feeling lesser Black, perhaps, and feeling more blue, if that's the color that denotes being a cop. They might lean towards being more blue in that moment. They might go home knowing I'm Black, but while I'm here representing the cop world, I'm blue. And so I've had to learn so much in the, I don't know, 10 times that I've been harassed by cops. And many of those 10 have been very aggressive encounters. Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, I learned a lot, just by watching the film. I didn't even know that, as police officers, as they're trained, I didn't know, you know, they have to keep going or just keep using force or whatever. I can't remember exactly what
Yes. What was that? What did Bo's character?
The Bo's character, yeah, it's about basically following through the procedures, and then I think the thing that alarms a lot of people is that they go home right after a shooting and wait.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of loopholes that I'll use as whatever that are set in place. I think that just to bring up what you were saying earlier, I think that whether it be my own trauma from when I was young and growing up in New York City, is I've always had a fear of power. People in power positions. I've always had a fear, whether it be I was running from cops because I didn't want to get a juvenile delinquent card, which, turns into a YD card. I've always had a fear because at any moment you just learn if you grow up around cops and criminals, which is basically what it is, that's what you play when you're young and that's what you see in the streets. And if you grow up around that, you have a fear of both. But at the same time, you're also just aware of things, right? Still to this day. And I'm fortunate where I've done enough shows where I think most cops kind of know who I am. I still shut the radio for cops behind me. I still go to 10 and 2. Cop can't hear my radio. Why am I shutting my radio? My wife sits at me and goes, "Why are you shutting your radio?" And I'm just like, just don't move. Don't talk to me. Because I am fearful of power. Mm-hmm. Because the misuse of power this is a country built on blood. So of course the misuse of power has been the recurring theme that we have seen throughout. So I've feared that my whole life. Whatever that dynamic is, whatever that dynamic represents, the current one that never seems to go away is of law enforcement, right? But there's many others. There's parental power, there's teacher power, there's corporate power. In our business, there's studio power. There's people who are above who don't want to relinquish power. We've seen people within our own people who literally get power, who come from something else and then come up and then change because they're so fearful of losing the power.
Right.
Power is intoxicating to people. The reason why it's even more dangerous, and you realize when you're young, is because it's life and death. It's not losing a job and not getting a promotion or being set to the side, which could be just as detrimental down the road. So as a young age, I started to think like, wait a second, if I'm in this place, if I jump this fence and I'm playing stickball in here, I can get a JD card. And wait, if I get what? I can go to what? Juvenile, I'm not going to detention. And so you start to become fearful of power. Listen, I have a 5 and a 3-year-old son who are just, one's a shade lighter than fax paper. And still I'm telling this dude in the shower, we played the game where I'm like, hands up when I'm giving them bath, hands up. What did the cops say? Hands up. Because these are the way and they're 5 and 3 that I'm teaching them how to be around power positions, how to be complete, like how to just be aware. And I think that you either know that or you don't. And it wasn't until I was older that I realized that most people don't have that mindset.
Right. I just, I'm a female, of course, and I've never thought about, carrying a gun to protect myself. And it's like nowadays I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to get a gun, just to be protected and just to feel so I can feel safe when I'm out and about. Because I'm in Atlanta, I shoot events, I'm here and there from time to time. I might come home late. You just never know. You know what I'm saying?
On the stuff with January 6th, that showed you that it right now at this point,
Right.
it ain't even about it.
What
Ain't
time
even,
of day it is.
It's jumped the skin. It's jumped the
Right.
skin color thing. It's like literally could happen anywhere, anytime, any event, anything.
Anywhere.
And you're like, what?
You're right. You're right.
That's
You're right.
crazy.
You're
That's
right.
when you see that, now you're even more, we don't realize the trauma that puts into people's since the 6th.
Oh,
People have now gone into a trauma situation.
It's got me in a different state of mind. I'm telling you, I'm like, I got to go to the gun range. I got to learn.
Yep, because you do. You don't want to just have the gun. You want to know how to shoot it.
Right. I got to learn. Seriously.
And think about it, but Theo's right. It is created and for all colors of people, right? It's not what he speaks about in trauma now. We all have PTSD from the 6th. Hell, that's 5 days ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You go to pay a parking ticket at the local, whatever. If you go, you're going to be like, wait a second, is somebody going to storm this place? Yes, if I'm going to everything has changed on top of the fear and the trauma that's going on. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. We're in this, there's all this stuff that's still going on. Like we said, it's not like stuff has stopped with cops. It's still happening. You know what I mean? Right. So again, these are the things that I think that we have to recognize. And this is why I tell people to lead with kindness. Mm-hmm. Instead of yelling into the void of social media, we start to have conversations. This film sparks conversation. We need to have conversations about everything. And more importantly, about expressing our fears for things. That we are fearful, like you just said about carrying a gun. I've moved to Texas a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure the dogs carry guns there. Everybody's got a gun, right? It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yet everybody's the nicest. Everybody's so nice and so incredibly different than LA and New York, where I've spent most of my life. So again, I think that if we talk to each other, instead of just yelling and retweeting and liking, we have talks. It's just a different world. And that, if 5 people can have a conversation, us 3 having a conversation now, this is what's important. This is real. Yeah, that's what we need to do.
So true. It's not a commercial.
Absolutely. Well, I know one thing. This movie is definitely right on time. So I'm going to make sure, I continue to get the word out. I'm posting it on my social media, website, everything. So January 15th, it's definitely going to be on. And most definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you, Brianna.
I got a question for both of you because it's Hip Hop United. Ready? I was thinking about this today. If KRS-One ever did a versus, who would he go against? Daddy Kane?
No, I would give him. I'd say he's got to go.
Him?
He's got to go as Rock.
He should go with who?
I think Rakim. I think he's got
Rakim. Oh, okay. Yeah, Rakim is good.
Rakim's not a battle rapper.
I was gonna ask you guys a hip hop question. Like who you got? Who are you guys riding with?
Kane is more of a battle rapper. Kane is more of a battle rapper.
Kane's a battle rapper.
Yeah, it probably would be Chris and Kane. I'll give you that. Who would LL go against, or has he done it yet?
He hasn't.
He hasn't. I would say Busta Rhymes. That's what I was thinking.
Busta Rhymes is the biggest sleeper in the game.
To me, forever.
Biggest sleeper in the game.
Forever.
Who am I rocking with now? You know what? I'm still on this. I was just listening to it.
Wait, what about your homeboy? Could you go Bust and Meth?
No. Method. If you're talking, look what they did on every verses. You're bringing out when you just have guest spots on people's songs. Meth is.
But you can't go.
Meth is deep.
Meth is it to me, but Bust is deep.
I'm not saying because I'm from Staten Island and I love meth, but meth is deep.
Well, then where you going?
But Bust is deep.
Bust is not bad.
I like to see Meth against Redman just because they can't play their own stuff against each other.
Oh, there you go.
I was gonna say Redman, Method Man. Are you guys ready for the
Redman and Method Man? Wait till you get
ready for what?
The next one is Bun B. Well, no, Keisha Cole and Ashanti, but I think after that it's Bun B and 8 Ball and MJG.
Yeah, I think so. I've just been looking at the Ashanti one. My one to me, Andre, I mean, the DJ, Andre, the Primo one was Andre still.
3000. Who are we going against? Andre 3000. Who are we going against?
Man, I mean, that would have to be, you have to go a little more obscure, right? Because he's going to play all. Because, I mean, you have to, it's not just him solo, right? So
Yeah, but if you grabbed him solo, can he go against Kendrick, or is there too much of an age gap?
No. Kendrick's.
Well, we have to wrap.
Kendrick's in
There's
it.
going to be a
We
message.
have to wrap it up, Brie. This is
There's
going to be
gonna
a thing.
message. I do appreciate it once again, you guys checking in and taking
much,
the time
man.
to speak to me.
Everybody
Thank
check
you,
that
Bree.
movie out, American Skin. We are very honored and very humbled to
Appreciate you, Bree.
Conversation. Thank you, Bree.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.